Stop 8, Block 01. As you turn right on the trail leading to Block 01, you will be walking parallel to the Albert Canal. The trail will go to the left, taking you out to Block 01. You will now appreciate the location and purpose of Fort Eben Emael. This position was reached by the underground tunnels located beneath your feet. It took 20 minutes to get from the entrance Block 1 to this Block 01. From this vantage point, you can see the important strategic location of the fort. The two main waterways in the area provided significant barriers to any invading army. At the bottom of the hill and moving from right to left is the Albert Canal. On the other side of the canal runs the important Meuse River, but here in Belgium called the Maas River. On clear days you can see into Germany. This observation post could see it all. Its armored observation dome was designated Eben 1. From its dominating position, Block 01 was able to observe all movement over a wide area as far south as V's, and thus providing fire missions from V's 1 and 2, as well as Cupola 120, Nord and Sud, as necessary. Besides Eben 1, Block 01 featured one 60mm anti-tank gun, 3 machine guns, and 3 searchlights. Block 01 had a crew of 4 NCOs and 18 soldiers, as well as 3 observers for Eben 1. It was with positions on the Albert Canal stretching north from Eben Emael that the Belgians planned to hold the enemy for 5 days while the Allies advanced into central Belgium. The canal had been deliberately designed to be a barrier to troop movements from the east, as well as an important economic feature. It was an average 50 yards wide and 15 feet deep. The earth spoil was piled up on the western bank so that the defenders would benefit from elevated positions from which they could dominate the open ground to the east. The canal north of Eben Emael was a serious barrier, and the Germans would have to plan to overcome, as the banks were both steep and high. To enhance the effect of the Albert Canal as an obstacle, medium-type casements, most with 2 machine gun embrasures and an embrasure for a 47mm anti-tank gun, were built along the western bank every half mile or so. Surrounded by infantry trenches, the bunkers and strong points had overlapping arcs of fire covering the long straight stretches of canal and the barbed wire obstacles along the bank. The canal bridges were also an integral part of the defenses, with some defense casements built into the abutments of piers. The bridges also had chambers built into the abutments and roadways, as well as holes in the superstructure to take explosive demolitions which could be fired if a bridge was in danger of capture. The 3 bridges immediately north of the fort were of particular importance if the Germans could not seize and cross the Meuse bridges at Maastricht. Although planned, there was no Block 3, but 2 special emplacements were built on the banks of the Albert Canal, covering the approach along the waterway. These were 2-story structures built into the sheer wall of the canal. Again, these 2 positions can be observed from the far bank looking across to the fort. These positions could also be reached through the underground fort tunnels. They were known as Canal Nord and Canal Sud, and, being some 800 meters apart, were mutually supporting. Canal Nord was armed with a 60mm anti-tank gun, 1 machine gun and a searchlight covering the Albert Canal towards the village and bridge at Caen, and 2 machine guns pointing in the other directions toward the Lanel locks and Canal Sud. Canal Sud had the same weapons. Both emplacements featured an armored observation dome on top incorporating fire ports for a machine gun and flare guns, either for signaling or illuminating the canal. The crew of each position numbered 3 NCOs and 17 soldiers. Canal Sud no longer exists as it was demolished when the Belgians widened the Albert Canal after the war. Canal Nord, however, can still be accessed through the underground tunnel system. Block 01, being outside the fort emplacements, was never assaulted. As we learned earlier, Block 01 did provide valuable observation information for Cupola Sud and passed on information to the command center. We can now proceed back by the path that brought us here. Follow the trail straight through the gate and we will arrive at Cupola Nord on your left. You can listen to Stop 9 as you walk towards this cupola.